First of all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button, if you want to. But most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow, and you hitting that button will mean a lot. So please do consider subscribing. Please. The King of Staten Island is a semi-biographical picture about the life of comedian Pete Davidson. Now, in this movie, Pete Davidson plays a version of himself. He plays a guy named Scott, who has all the life experiences that Pete has in real life. And he's in his 20s, and he's just trying to figure his shit out. He doesn't really know what he wants to do. He wants to be a tattoo artist, but at the same time, like, he's just going with the motions and trying to figure out how he's going to get to his goal and what he's going to do in life, while simultaneously dealing with the passing of his father, who died when Pete was very young. Now, if you don't know the real story, Pete Davidson's dad was actually one of the first responders on 9/11, and he lost his life that day. That is something that Pete has talked about before in his stand-up and outside his stand-up. So, in this movie, you can definitely tell that this is a very personal and therapeutic project for Pete Davidson. So Pete Davidson, how was he in the movie? I thought he was actually really good in the film. I'm actually a big fan of Pete Davidson. I find his dark sense of humor really funny. I love dark humor. And I did recently, a few months ago, watch his newest special on Netflix, and I like him on SNL. I think he's really funny. In this movie, he plays, again, a version of himself. Now, just like in Uncut Gems, I talked about in my review how Kevin Garnett played himself, yes, but it's not as easy as it might seem. I mean, if somebody pointed cameras at you and they were like, well, how would you react in this situation? You would probably just, your brain would probably just explode because so many scenarios would be going through your head. And again, if you like Pete Davidson, you will have fun watching him on screen act as himself. And yeah, I just thought he was very good in this drama/comedy or dramedy. One of the things about Pete Davidson's performance, for me at least, is that I can really relate to this. I can kind of relate to the aspects of this story, but especially Pete himself, because I turned 21 in a few months, and I don't have my shit figured out, right? So watching a guy go through life around my age, not having his shit figured out, I'm like, yeah, I can totally relate to that. That's definitely something that I'm going through. And if you're older, that's probably a situation that you've been going through or you have went through in your 20s. So again, it's very relatable, and I really like that. Yeah, so Pete Davidson was actually really good in the movie. I think the next step for him is to try and find a role where, he's not playing himself or a version of himself. Really take that next step challenge and kind of disappear into a role. I know that he's in the new Suicide Squad movie directed by James Gunn, so I'm interested to see what kind of role he plays there. But yeah, with his appearances on SNL and this movie, I really felt like the next challenge for him as an actor, if he wants to pursue that, is to find a role where he kind of disappears and we don't see Pete Davidson anymore. We really see a different character that he's playing. So looking forward to seeing what you're going to do next. Going back to the aspect of this being a very relatable story, the writing, I thought, was very good. It felt very natural, very grounded. It felt like something, again, you watch, you can really relate to. That's one of the biggest things that I liked about this film, is that when characters have conversations, everything just flows so naturally. It's not like actors, it doesn't feel like actors are just delivering their lines as that's it. It feels like we're really going through the motions of just people having conversations, and all of this whole project just felt very natural. It's about a guy just walking through life trying to figure his shit out. Nothing major on a grand scale happens, Yeah, this is a drama, but it's not an over-the-top drama, You're not going to get this big crying moment of people screaming and throwing shit all over the place. For example, there's a scene where Pete and his friends are hanging out in the basement and they're bantering at each other. And I remember watching that scene and I was like, that's me and my friends. I saw me and my friends in that conversation right there. I was like, yeah, we make fun of each other like that all the time. So it's very relatable. This movie is also really funny. You can tell that through his performance and writing, Pete Davidson brought some of that dark humor that he has to this movie. And there was quite a few times where me and my friends actually laughed out loud pretty hard. However, I do have a big criticism for this movie, and it's that it's too long. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes long. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes long of us just walking through life with Pete Davidson's character, trying to see what he's going to do, right? There's no real time scale. We don't really know how much time passes throughout the movie. It just kind of happens. The story feels a bit long. At times, it does feel like the movie drags a little bit. At times, it felt like what we were watching on screen just wasn't providing anything vital to the story and wasn't really moving it along. It was just kind of people chilling or just doing some random things. So I did feel like this movie could have cut some runtime, definitely. Staying on the topic of cutting some runtime, I watched the trailers for this film, and I noticed after watching it twice is that there's some scenes missing that were in the trailer but are not in the film. And I'm wondering if this was like them looking at it and being like, all right, it's 2 hours and 17 minutes long. We got to cut some things here. So I'm wondering how much they did actually shave off, because, I mean, even the movie right now feels too long. So I was wondering, how much was it originally? So yeah, combining Pete Davidson's grounded performance with the natural flow of this story that does feel too long, I'm going to give this movie a C+. For congrats, Pete. That's a dub. After hearing some things about Pete Davidson over the past couple of months, and especially the whole situation with Ariana Grande and then getting married and breaking up and stuff like that, it really felt like Pete needed this dub. So congrats, Pete. This is a real dub, and you earned it. So guys, that's my review for The King of Staten Island starring Pete Davidson. Let me know what you think about the movie in the comments. I'd love to read what you guys thought. And leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate all of that. Also, let me know what's your favorite coming of age story. I don't know what mine is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But yes, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.